In this video, I'm going to show you how to make knit and linen fabrics from scratch inside of Photoshop. So let's get started. So today I want to go over how to make two quick cloth textures. These are great for crafts, sewing DIY, fashion home decorating and so much more. The first one that we are going to do is this one right here. It's a base linen texture, just a simple texture. I'm going to zoom in so you can see this up close. It's just a crosshatch, very simple texture. And then the second one that I'll show you is this right here. This is more of a tweed or cotton. But you can adjust this one to create a jersey knit as well. Okay, so we're going to get started with a new file, and a new document is going to be 3000 pixels by 3000 pixels, 72 resolution, RGB mode, and we are going to use white background. Click create. Go ahead and click on the little lock icon to unlock the layer. And now we are going to start with this color right here, which is F5D294. That's going to be our base color. And now I'm going to press X to put that in the background. Then Command and Delete or Control plus Backspace on the PC to get that color in there. And now we'll just come in and add a noise filter to it. So we'll come up to Filter, Noise, Add Noise, and we're going to leave ours about 40%. You can increase the noise for a stronger streak look, or you can lower it if you want more subtle effect. So we're going to keep ours right around 40%. Uniform distribution, monochromatic is checked off. Click OK. Now you have got something like a two-toned, almost like a glitter. We are going to go back into filters, and this time we're going to go to blur. Then motion blur and add an angle of 90 degrees. It's just an up and down. Our distance will be about 90 pixels. Click OK. And now once we have this layer set up, right click and duplicate this layer. So with this top layer selected, we are going to go up to Edit, Transform, and we're going to rotate it to 90 degrees. So we have this right here, a 0 degree axis horizontal. And then we also have the vertical behind it. Select the top layer, bring the opacity down to 50%. So you can see both, and that's pretty much all there is to. I'm going to zoom in again so you can take a look at that full texture. You can see the cross hatching in there. Again, if you want a stronger look, you'll add more noise, and then you can change the variation of the cross hatching by changing the length of your motion blur. Once you have this set up, all you have to do is grab both of these layers. You'll hold the shift key and then grab the top and the bottom. You'll hold the shift key and Command E or Control E to turn that into one layer. Okay, so that was our first fabric texture. This is the linen texture. Next, we're going to work on something that looks more like tweed. Okay, so now that we have that first one down, we're going to add a new layer here. This is going to be our tweed or our knit fabric. So we're going to change this color. We're going to be using a red color. And that is going to be A70707. Click OK. This is going to be our base color. And then the top color, we're going to use something that's pretty dark. This is going to be the shadow or the darker areas of our fabric. And this is 272727. Click OK. So we want it to be dark but not absolute black. We're gonna go ahead and fill this layer with this bottom color. Command delete or control backspace to fill that red color. Now we're going to add a filter to this. So we'll come up to filter, filter gallery, go to sketch, and half tone pattern. Now this is going to be a very subtle pattern. So you might want this style for maybe like a jersey knit or something that is much finer. Take size to 4. Contrast at 5. Pattern type is line. Click OK. So you can see that it's not very big. I'm going to zoom into this so that you can see it. This is about 66-67% right there. So this is the first layer. Now we're going to go to layer. Hold down the option key on your keyboard or alt key and then drag. You will get another layer. Or you can right click and duplicate layer, either way. So you have 2 copies here. One is going to be our horizontal. Let's type horizontal. And one is going to be our vertical layer. Let's name it vertical. And with this top layer selected, we're going to come up back to filter and add noise. For top layer is going to be 25%. Distribution is uniform and make sure monochromatic is selected. Click OK. So with the noise added, what I'm going to do is actually change the direction of this. So come up to edit, transform, and we're going to rotate it to 90 degrees. So we do want this vertical pattern. So we're going to go up back to filter now and we're going to do a blur, motion blur, 90 degrees angle. Vertical distance is 5 pixels. Click OK. And that's going to give us kind of like a yarn effect. Now we're going to turn that layer off, come to horizontal layer and do the exact same thing. Go to filter, noise, add noise, and this one we're going to give it a little bit more noise. Around 35. Distribution uniform, monochromatic check, click OK. And we'll go back up to filters and we're going to do blur, motion blur. This time we do want to be horizontal, so we're going to doing an angle at 0 degrees. Distance 5. Click OK. So now we have the 2 sections. We're going to turn this one back on. Change the opacity of the layer to 50%. So this darker color is giving the fabric a little bit of a depth. So if you create this, if you're trying to get a jersey knit style and you need it to be very fine texture, then of course you just come down on your scale when you are creating your half tone lines. You'll just grab both, hold down the shift key and the other layer, command or control plus the letter E. You have got your 2 textures now. This one is linen and this one is tweed, or you can say knit, cotton knit. So in this video you learned how to create linen fabric texture and cotton knit fabric texture.